Okay. A bit slower. All right. Hello, everybody. Hello and welcome. Welcome to Jerusalem. This is Nicole Johnson from Jerusalem. You may have found this channel by accident, or you might be returning and saying, wow, what happened to Nicole? And you might be able to hear from my voice that for like a week and a half, I could not even speak. Anyway, it's just coming back now. But if I had reported back then, had I gone online and given a news report in the last 10 days, it would have been the same. We are almost at the same exact place now as we were 10 days ago, as we were 2 weeks ago, as we were 30 days ago. We are waiting for the imminent deal to be signed. And now, actually, just today, President Trump has said it is going to be signed in a couple of hours. But not only is the deal going to be signed in a couple of hours, allegedly, Iran is going to be launching missiles at its enemy in a couple of hours. So we don't know what is going to come first. At the Iranian response to Israel attacking Beirut, or the deal that Trump says is going to be signed, but he's been saying it's going to be signed. I mean, the only thing that has changed in the last couple days is that there has been more movement to the rhetoric of a deal is coming, it's imminent, it's going to be signed. Even the Iranians, for a brief few seconds, even the Iranians said, yes, a deal. Yes, we've agreed to the terms because we've won, because you've agreed to all of our terms. And of course, that created its own little brouhaha because Trump said whatever was leaked was not true. So anyway, so Trump says in a few hours, a deal will be signed. I don't know, what time is it in the US? It's like 2 p.m. Eastern time, and it's Sunday. Is it Father's Day in the US? Guys, let me know if it's Father's Day, because here it's not. I don't know. But also it's Trump's birthday, and it's Sunday, June 14th. And are they going to sign a deal today? And if they are, where? You know, the news over the weekend was that they were going to sign the deal in Europe. Well, I don't see anybody flying over to Europe right now. I don't see that Trump is not, like, you know, Trump is not going to be there for the signing. That's for sure, I guess, at this point. So who actually is going to sign the deal? And anyway, is what happened today when Israel attacked Hezbollah, because Hezbollah was launching missiles at Israel and the Hezbollah missiles landed in Israeli territory. Is that going to, does that basically blow up the negotiations? No pun intended, or maybe very intended. So anyway, we are as usual in a waiting pattern. Now, I saw several montages in the media over the weekend of Trump saying, oh yeah, they're going to make a deal. The Iranians want a deal. We're about to make a deal. We're going to sign anytime now. I mean, I think some people have counted that he may have said that 39 times. I'm not going to try to double check that, but it's he has been talking about this deal being signed anytime now. And we still do not see any indication that that is actually going to happen anytime soon. Instead, we're waiting to see what the Iranian response will be. I actually just want to catch up in case there is going to be something. I had rewound something because we need to talk about some other things. So what are people feeling about this deal? Now, first of all, we don't really know what the deal entails, because it's been like this encased in secrecy. Like the US has one version and perhaps the Iranians have another version. But oh, by the way, I just want to say hi to Carol, and I want to say hi to Roy, who has said that next Sunday is Father's Day. Okay, I'm sure I would have seen more stuff in all my social media feeds had I yeah, had it actually been today. But I actually like opened an American calendar and I'm like, what is it today? That's so funny. But it's still Trump's birthday, apparently. And for his 80th birthday, he might want a deal, right? Okay, so what are people feeling about the deal? Like there is probably no Israeli that thinks it's a good deal for Israel. In America, you've got, of course, the administration saying it's a great deal. We've won it all. What are they saying in Iran? It's a great deal. We've won it all. They're saying the same thing. So only the Israelis are saying, "Oh no, this sucks." And Netanyahu was officially saying, I will not allow Iran to get nuclear weapons as long as I am prime minister. So that's his official statement on that. But every Israeli analyst that I've heard has said this is a bad deal for Israel. And now the Iranians, I mean, according to what I have heard being leaked, it looks like a decent deal for Iran, just in terms of they're going to get money released. Are they like something about the enriched uranium? Are they going to get it right? Or like, are they going to give it up? Now, Iran says we're never going to give that up, but Trump says, they're going to give it to us. They've offered it to us. But one of the things I've heard, and again, none of this is verifiable, but that it needs to be collected and it will be at a later date, which means that they could continue to delay and procrastinate, whatever. So we don't really know. So let me just call up some of my notes. The other things that are on the list, of course, the Strait of Hormuz. But what happens with the Strait of Hormuz? Will that be opened? Will it be opened right away? How is it going to work? All right, so that's one thing. Hold on, guys. I'm going to just find out where this is. Now, it's so funny. I collected news like couple days ago, June 12th. June 12th news might be too old for today. Okay, so the Iranian Mehr news agency published 14 articles of the alleged agreement. And this is what they say. They say that there is an immediate and permanent ceasefire in all arenas, including Lebanon. Now, this was number one on their list. Now, Lebanon is Israel's like non-negotiable. Like Israel says it will continue its war with Hezbollah. Also, by the way, it's not just about, okay, stop fighting. Will Hezbollah abide by it? Well, maybe they will, because if Iran tells them to, if this is part of the deal. But does it require Israel to withdraw? Because Israel is well up into Lebanon right now. Like they are several miles into Lebanese territory. They have taken over several cities and towns, I guess, villages in southern Lebanon. And they've published like the names of some of them. They've evacuated others. So Israel has a lot of territory that it has gained in Lebanon. Now, not necessarily to keep. Israel has not said its intention is to stay in Lebanon, but its intention is to push back Hezbollah. And Israel's fear, from a defense point of view, is that if Israel withdraws, that Hezbollah will return to those villages. Now, those villages are further south, which means closer to the Israeli border. So what's been happening is that two tactics that Hezbollah has been using. One is the FPV drones, which are sent on like a string of dental floss and run on remote control. And they have proven to be extremely deadly because they're undetectable. So the remote control, the person running the control, it's actually has a camera on the drone so they can see their target. and something like 17 Israeli soldiers have been killed. Now, it's been a couple days of no casualties, so I don't know if that says anything about, controlling the situation or not. I haven't heard that, but I'm just saying it's been quiet on that end. However, Hezbollah has been using drones and missiles to also fire. So some are hitting where the troops are, Israeli troops are in Lebanon, but some are also getting into Israel. So the ones that are getting into Israel, again, no deaths, damage in some places, and in open fields. Now, that brings me to Trump's latest quote, unverified but reported by Barak Ravid, what's his name? Barak Ravid from Axios. He's an Israeli reporter, but he's based in Washington. So he said, I spoke with President Donald Trump, and he told me that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has, quote, no effing judgment, end quote. He used the full word for judgment, not the other one. I'm just kidding. And he says, this is the Axios report. Why did Bibi have to do an effing attack? I was so pissed off. I let him know he has no effing judgment. I let him know that. So then he was asked, well, does that delay or mess up things with the deal that you expect to sign this MOU later today? And he said the deal would have been signed by now if it were not for the strike. It shook it up, he said. It delayed the signing by a few hours. It was supposed to be signed now. It was supposed to be now. Now it is scheduled for a few hours from now. It is so bad. I couldn't believe it. An hour before we are supposed to sign the deal. So this is Trump's statement about what happened this afternoon. So why did Israel hit Hezbollah? There were a couple of rockets or missiles that came into Israel today, and they were either shot down or fell in northern Israel, but in an open area. Oh, I should have found that video for you guys. Let me see if I can find that. If I can find it from, it's probably, let me see this guy's site. And if I can find it here, you can actually watch how they landed. Oh, of course, this guy posts every 2 seconds, so I've got to scroll for like a mile down. So because these missiles landed in Israel, Israel was like, oh, as soon as something crosses into Israeli territory, this is like the new rule of the ceasefire. Because remember, it's like there's ceasefire rules. And so one of the rules now for ceasefire, for abiding by ceasefire, is we can still fight, but you don't shoot Hezbollah into Israeli territory, and Israel, you don't attack Beirut. So it's like, we'll turn a blind eye to the fighting going on between you guys in southern Lebanon, but don't aim at Israel and don't aim at the capital of Lebanon, Beirut. So that is what has been going on for, what is it, like 2 months, 3 months, something like that, 2 months, since middle of April. This has been the new equation of ceasefire, the non-ceasefire that we have. So hold on, I am still looking for this video because I think you guys, oh wait, I'm already back in June 13th. So no, this is good. This is a good sign actually, because it's June 14th. I think I got it. Oh yeah, I do. Okay. All right. So I got to catch it for you guys, and you can enjoy this video here of Hezbollah rockets making it into Israeli territory.
נופל, תראה את הרחפן באמא שלי.
Oh, it's a drone. This one's a
הנה,
drone.
באלוהים, פה, למעלה. תראה אותו שם. הנה, הוא גם הולך ליפול. הוא נופל, הוא נופל. נופל, תראה את הבן זונה. בום.
We can watch that again. It goes pretty.
הרחפן באמא שלי.
So look, he's saying it's a drone, it's a drone.
הנה, באלוהים, פה, למעלה. תראה אותו שם.
He's just telling him
הנה, הוא
there.
גם הולך ליפול. הוא נופל, הוא נופל.
Fell, it fell.
נופל, תראה את הבן זונה. בום.
All right, so that is what happened, and that is why Israel decided that okay, it's able to go and attack Beirut. So it went and they went and attacked Beirut, and they went after somebody, one of the Hezbollah military commanders, and at least Israel is saying that. I think it's Israel saying that they got him. I'm looking for anything on that. I think I've got another video so we can see then, it's like, oh, it's not a video. Hold on. Okay, now I've got a video. So let's check out what happened when Israel went back in. Went after, because you knew it was going to happen as soon as there was. It's like funny, like we can all call the shots here. We all called the shots on the Iranian attack. But by the way, okay, they're still saying that they're preparing in Israel for an Iranian attack, but Trump said he's talking the Iranians out of it. He's trying to talk them out of it. So let's see. Okay, let's check out this. So this is in the Dahia neighborhood in Beirut when Israel attacked there this afternoon.
خلاص شو بنعمل؟ خلاص كمل روح اليمين، فوت دغري على اليمين، فوت دغري وعلى اليمين.
So you can see that here a very dense urban city. I mean, there's a populated city. A lot of apartment buildings right next to each other. And so, I so far what I read somewhere was that they said the death toll there was at 3. But that is basically the shot that might blow up the deal, if there really was a deal, because everybody seems to have a different opinion on it. Although this one seems to be the closest to reality. I think there are still people out there who are hoping it's like a deep fake, of that it's not really that Trump's got some trick up his sleeve, that he's not actually going to make a deal with Iran. And I did read in one place that if anybody did want to believe that that was the case, that there is infighting going on in Iran between the hardliners and the negotiators, like, I think Kalibaf, who is the head of the parliament. There is Pezeshkian, who's the president, and also Aragchi, who is the foreign minister. So now, other than that, we have not heard from Moshtaba Khamenei, although President Trump says that he's alive and he's better than his father, and that he's very reasonable and he's doing a better job. Now, we haven't heard his voice. We've only seen written statements. We have not seen him. Remember, he was probably injured in the first attack that took out his father, back on February 28th. Well, actually, we don't even know if he's injured or if he's just in hiding. But there were reports in the beginning that he was injured, severely maimed, but we have no idea. So anyway, so he is supposedly calling the shots over there. Now, I was saying before that Israel, most Israelis, any analysts you interview, also politicians, both in the opposition and not, they're not really in favor of the deal, though they have to walk the fine diplomatic line of saying, oh, but you know, we trust President Trump. But the analysts are saying, like, no, it's horrible. Now, another person who is unhappy with the deal that might be coming out is Reza Pahlavi, who is the crown prince of Iran, the son of the Shah. And he said that when, and I believe he said this, according to Israeli news, they said that he spoke at they didn't say when he said this, actually. It was just the picture. Never mind. They have these quotes from real time. They say, I cannot find them. I could not verify this. But apparently he said, he was saying, you know, Iranians went to the streets back in January knowing that, you know, protesting against the regime is like a death sentence, but they heard Trump say help is on the way. So it empowered them to go out. Now, ever since then, their internet was shut down. And now how many have been executed? I mean, at the time they were saying tens of thousands, like between 30 to 50,000 were executed, were killed then. Executions are continuing till now. Pahlavi said that the IRGC was on the cusp of collapsing, but then the war stopped. No one came to the aid of the Iranian people who want freedom. He said that they are there's a very high sense of frustration that no, this cannot be the way it is going to end. But he said the economy is worse than ever. And so it's only a matter of time that there will be unrest again and that people will go to the streets again. So that is what he says is currently going on in Iran. That this will be what happens because of the economy. Look at this. I only just now remembered. And by the way, before I put your comment on the screen, I forgot I could put comments on the screen. This is what happens when you don't do a live for 2 weeks. I have to say, before I was sick, we were in Crete. And I did a couple videos and uploaded them, but I couldn't do lives because we had really bad internet where we were. But then I got sick and I had no voice. And so it's like done. All right. So anyway, just to wrap it up with Iran and the Iranian people, the internet is like somewhat back on, but remember it was down for months from January. It was down for over 100 days or something like that. So slowly but surely we'll hear what's going on there. Hopefully we'll hear what's going on there. All right, Ohan, back to you. It's been clear that this current government is sacrificing their own people just to get more piece of land, just as Gaza. I assume you were talking about Israel. Just as Gaza and just as the current government voted that religious Jews that pray are equivalent as the army. Mark my words, in this coming election, if the population will not change the government, it's the start of the end of Israel. Well, that is probably the sentiment of a lot of people in this country. Ohan, a lot of Israelis probably agree with you. You know, I did a story a couple years ago, and it's related to this. It's related to this, even though it was about Zionism and what it means today and how it survived and stuff like that. But I interviewed a bunch of different professors and politicians about what they thought. And there's this one female professor I interviewed, and she was brilliant. And she said, this is exactly what she said. In a couple years, we will not have a state of Israel because the fastest growing populations in the country are the populations that do not pay taxes and do not serve in the army. So you will have a weak economy and you will have a weak military hanging on, both the economy and the military hanging on the backs of what she says will eventually be 1/3 of the population, like the secular Israelis and the national religious that do serve in the army. But the ultra Orthodox segment, which Ohan is referring to here, is that they do not serve in the army. They are about 13% of the population. In fact, they are protesting like crazy. Like, had I done lives last week, I would have told you about how 1 week in the city, you go from like on Sunday, the roads are shut down because the ultra Orthodox are protesting. They're literally like shutting roads, like the streets or the highways and everything. They're nobody can get anywhere. To like the end of the week, they shut down Jerusalem because it was the gay pride parade in Jerusalem. And I was like, it's like two opposite ends of the spectrum, both shutting down the city in 1 week. Also, last night we got stuck in a protest. Now, it was a anti-government protest, but not anti-government from the ultra-Orthodox point of view, but from the secular, more so secular point of view. And they have a lot of similar sentiments as what you're saying. Now, as far as you said, there, it's being that this government are sacrificing their own people just to get more land, such as Gaza. So in that sense, which is actually different from the ultra-Orthodox issue, that's more of like the settler issue. And so in Netanyahu's government, he has both the ultra-Orthodox and the secular and the settlers and he has no secular. He's got the settlers and the ultra-Orthodox, and they both have very strong ideological agendas or religious agendas. And the ultra-Orthodox is that they should not serve in the army and they should just study Torah and pray. And that is their contribution. And for the settlers, they are really using their time and power to build the settlements in the West Bank. And also, a lot of people do fear that this will also happen to the parts of Gaza. 60% of Gaza is now, it's like a sterilized zone that is controlled by the Israeli military. And so people actually fear that that the settlers will then go into those parts of Gaza and take over that. Now, also, it's happened several times that a group, there's one, they're called like the Lions of Bashan, and they go into Syria. These are Jews who believe that all of whatever land that was mentioned in whatever passage in the Bible, it's for them. So they go into Syria and they try to create a settlement there. They go into Lebanon and they try to create a settlement there. And who has to get them out is the Israeli army. Now, when they do that in the West Bank, the army is also supposed to get them out. It doesn't always happen, though, that way. And settler violence against Palestinians in the West Bank has just escalated in the last couple months. I mean, it's especially since October 7th. The IDF itself says that 80% of attacks in the West Bank are Jews against Palestinians, not vice versa. I'll get the statistic for you because I shouldn't probably just quote things without like, here's the number right here. But it's been ongoing, and it's been in the last few months, it's escalated. Are you going to pick up Lucas?
Yeah.
Okay. So so that's that. So let me see what I've got in the notes. And by the way, if you guys have any questions or anything, let me know. Some of the other things that have to be in the deal, although we don't know exactly which way it's going to go. Ceasefire in Lebanon, we don't know. Will that be included in the Iran deal? An American commitment not to interfere in Iran's internal affairs. Of course, this was put out by the Iranian agency. I told you that. Lifting of the naval blockade, High Raya, withdrawing its forces from the areas adjacent to Iran. Now, come on, like who's going to agree to that? Like out of Kuwait, out of the UAE, out of Bahrain, is that what they're referring to? Yeah, I can't imagine that that's going to happen, not for the Gulf states and not for America. Like I can't imagine either of them would agree to that. Okay, so opening the Hormuz, it says in accordance with Iranian arrangements. Now, that could mean that they still want to impose a toll. But the U.S. said they didn't agree to that. But now, of course, this is their version of the deal. I haven't seen a U.S. version of the deal. I've only heard things here and there. Okay. Reconstruction funds to Iran in the amount of no less than $300 billion. 60 days of negotiations to reach a final agreement based on nuclear issues, complete lifting of primary and secondary U.S. sanctions, and the revocation of resolutions and measures of the UN Security Council and the Board of Governors of the International Atomic Energy Agency. Okay, and then on, all in Iran's favor. Now, could you imagine if the U.S. agreed to this? My question is, how is this actually different than Obama's deal? There's got to be. I must have it somewhere. Let me see the thing about Obama's deal, because I saw somebody wrote. Okay, wait, before we go to Obama's deal, I'm going to go to that. So 3 key problems for Israel from this. Okay. One is the Strait of Hormuz opens immediately. So that means that they're going to get their cash machine back. Iran is, if that's the case. The nuclear issue, this person is alleging that Iran has not agreed to destroy its enriched uranium and has not agreed to not enrich uranium, nor to hand it over. And then on the Lebanon issue, they are demanding the ceasefire. So this is this person's way of saying that basically these are the 3 things that the Israelis are like across the board saying like, no, this is not good for us, but they kind of have to be diplomatic about it. Okay, so how Trump says that his agreement is different from Obama's. He says that the JCPOA was an easy, nice, and smooth way to obtain nuclear weapons, a weapon that Iran would have possessed already 6 years ago and would have used long before today. My agreement with Iran is exactly the opposite. It's a wall against nuclear weapons. Hi, Daniel. Hi. In fact, the Iranians no longer want nuclear weapons, Trump says, and they will not have them, not through purchase, not through development, and not in any other way. The agreement is expected to be signed, this was yesterday, tomorrow, and immediately after signing this, the Strait of Hormuz will be open to all. Our relationship with Iran is completely different and much better than that of previous administrations. Unlike the hundreds of billions of dollars that Obama transferred to them, including $1.7 billion in cash, cold, hard, green money, under this agreement, no money will change hands. At the appropriate time, when everything is calm, we will go in and collect the dust of nuclear material buried deep beneath the mighty granite mountains that have sunk into the ground thanks to our wonderful B-2 bombers and their brilliant pilots, and we will dilute it and destroy it, whether in Iran or in the United States. We look forward to working with Iran and with the entire Middle East for years to come. I hope the whole process, amen. Daniel said amen. I hope the whole process will proceed quickly, easily, and smoothly. If not, we will have the ultimate alternative, and I hope we will never have to use it again. Okay, so there's Trump doubling down on the non-deal that hasn't been signed yet, but you never know. There are still hours in the day. There are still about 10 hours in the day for you on the East Coast. For Iran, it is probably already tomorrow. And so, let's see. Oh, and Ohan has another great question. What do you feel? Is Bibi the puppet of Trump or the other way around? Well, I think actually they are playing us all like the puppets, and that I don't think anybody plays Trump around. I really don't, which is why when I read what he just said, and also when I read what Iran thinks is putting out as the deal that they say that they're signing, I think that is like that doesn't look like you won, US. So what did you do? So that's why I was like, I don't think Trump gets played too often. I could be biased because, he's a New Yorker, he's from Queens and I'm from Queens. No, I'm just kidding. But I don't think that he can get played by Netanyahu because though lobbies, though the Israel lobbying group may have influence and impact on American politics, I don't think that Bibi necessarily plays Trump. Maybe they presented them with very dramatic intelligence to get them to go into war and stuff like that. But I could be wrong, but I don't think Trump gets played. Now, I think that Trump thinks that he plays everybody and that could be the danger. Wow, Daniel, excuse yourself. We're on live. Seriously. Oh my gosh. Wow. Oh, this is hilarious. All right. Well, look, that is about the end of my notes because, about a week ago today, we were getting incoming missiles from Iran because of another round. It's like the weekly deja vu, and they canceled school on Monday. Like the first thing they did, this was the best thing. The first thing they did was cancel school. They said, oh, we are preparing for an Iranian response because of our attack on Beirut. And they said, schools are canceled, just like that. So, with only like 4 days left in the what do you call it? In the school year, might as well cancel school, right? So anyway, so far they haven't canceled school, which means that maybe Trump is getting through to the Iranians and they're not going to do a revenge attack in Hezbollah's honor. So last week, exactly last week, this time, Sunday to Monday, same thing, it played out. And there were coordinated Hezbollah Iranian attacks on the north at night. And then the next day, Monday morning, we got several, a couple of alerts and sirens here in Jerusalem and other parts of the country. I think about, was it like 15 missiles or something total, something like that, or 15. Well, I'm not sure, but it wasn't. It was like there was no damage as that was reported. So anyway, it was like just a disruption, and we call it the 12-hour war, which was almost a year to the day of the 12-day war between Iran and Israel. So it was really funny. I just want to say hello to Tammy from Fort Worth and Marcia from Illinois. Thank you guys for joining. Oh my gosh, you just reminded me. Now I got to show you. And I'm ending with this, but you guys have to see we had an event. Now I'm so happy about this event. We hosted an seriously, Daniel, Armenian food and wine tasting event in Jerusalem, and we sold it out. It was the first one ever. We had 20 people. And it was overbooked. And then 4 people were there and they're like, we don't want to sit here. We're going to sit over there, or like whatever. It was just really funny. So it was really cool. Oh, and Carol Wright, thank you for joining. You say you don't always watch live, but I'll tell you what, Nicole hasn't been live in a long time. I've been like delinquent for about 2 weeks. So anyway, thank you all for your grace and mercy. But okay, so we had this great event last night, and I just want to show you a little bit about it. Now, you can read my post on whether you're on Instagram or Facebook or Substack, even LinkedIn. I wrote a post just about why I think it's so great to honor these. To give a platform and a spotlight to these minority communities, such as the Armenian presence in Jerusalem. And so this was something we did, was just like really give the spotlight. That, like, there's an Armenian quarter. Well, hey, now let's pause and learn just a little bit about who the Armenians are, but let's do it through food and wine. Wow. Which is the language of every culture, the international language. All right, so I am going to share a video of the event. It's very brief, very cool, and let's check it out. I'll put it back to the beginning. Sorry, guys, I got lost there for a second because I want to show you the one where you could actually like see. And hi, Carol. I never actually put this on the screen. Yes, that's Mimi. I want to be able to, what's the word? Show you the full screen without the text. So let me just go over here. Let's make this larger. Let's start from the beginning. And put sound. Why do they make it so difficult? All right, you ready?
Yeah.
You guys ready? Daniel, you want to watch? Come over here.
No.
Come over here. All right. Guys. Right there. Let me shut that off. Okay, so the event, and Margaret, thank you so much. I'm glad you love the take on the chaos. I mean, love the chaos. Oh, in some ways, right? Tim, wish I could have gone. Tim, you would have loved it as well, being a foodie. You would definitely have loved this. So I'll just tell you a little bit about it. We hosted it with Rewind Restaurant. Rewind is this Armenian-owned restaurant. The husband's Armenian, wife is Christian from Bethlehem. They have great restaurants, including in Bethlehem, in Jericho, Jerusalem. They have 2 in Jerusalem. Great stuff. And Lee Taylor was there. Thank you very much for coming, Lee. That was awesome. And also Carol and John were there. And Marcia, you wish you could have been there. You will. When you come to Jerusalem, we can make this happen. But so we did it in conjunction with Rewind, and we wanted to feature as many, everything on the menu that's Armenian. Now, if you go to the restaurant, you can get other stuff. You can get pizza, you can get a burger, you can get a pasta. But we put the just the Armenian things on the menu, all the Armenian items, and a little bit of each. And then also 3, which ended up being 4 Armenian wines from Takar, which is a Armenian winery. And we did the white, the rosé, a red, and then a reserve, and with different grapes. I mean, the grapes that they use in Armenia to make wine are not grapes that you've heard of. Like, for instance, the white is Kangun, which is, not a Chardonnay, which is not Sauvignon Blanc. It's its own. And then the red is Areni. And it's totally different and not comparable to any of the wines that you've had. I mean, you can say, okay, it's lighter or it's fruitier, or you can use your adjectives, but you can't necessarily say, oh yeah, it's similar to Merlot or Cabernet notes. It is on its own. And then Miran, being a very lovely host, opened up the reserve, which is a mixture of Saparavi and Areni. And it wasn't on the tasting, but he was like, "Nah, let's do it. Let's taste this too." So then everybody got to taste the wines and then order their favorite glass from the 4 that they tasted. So it was awesome. It was a great event, and Carol and John were the 2. My parents are visiting right now, and so it was perfect timing that we were able to have the event while they were here. And Carol says it was such a fun experience. I mean, it was fun for us too, just to be there and just see everybody enjoy. And, we've always wanted to do this for tourists, but tourists are still not back. No wonder, considering we don't know if we're going to have a deal or an attack in the coming hours. I love it. So tourists aren't back. Airlines are hesitating. But you know what? Locals, and there are so many different kinds. We had such an eclectic group, from foreigners who are here working like in embassies, to foreigners who are volunteering at organizations and ministries, to others like Israeli locals, Arab locals, we had Muslims, Christians, Jews, all at these tables. And it was just like, you know what? The people here love the event. Like, we don't have to wait for the tourists. Like, anybody can enjoy it. The Armenians are that much unknown that it is new, it is niche, and it's exciting. So anyway, I'm so happy that we got to do that. And I'm happy I remembered to show you guys the video, because if Tony were here, he would have reminded me, but he went to pick up Lucas. All right. Well, I'm out of news and I'm out of a voice again. And let me just check. Let me just do one round, see if anybody tweeted while we were on. And none of the relevant channels seem to have come up with anything. So you know what? It could be nothing. We could be good. There could be a deal. There could be a deal. I love it. And now there's cross chatting. Marcia saying hi to John and Carol. This is awesome. All right, guys, I'm going to go, but I'm back. I'm back again. So I'll see you again soon. Hopefully also this week, with or without a deal, with or without a missile. Talk to you later.